Alrighty, welcome back to episode 27 of a Book Nook Brews. In this episode, we'll be talking about chapters 16 through 23 of Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. And man, I have some thoughts.
Yeah, we went through it this one.
We literally went through it. For our brew of today, because we kind of have one. Well, it's kind of gone. But we tried out some aguas frescas from Modelo.
Yeah.
And they slap.
They do.
They're really good.
They do. They taste like juice.
Yeah.
Like literally like aguas frescas, where it's just the water of whatever fruit it is.
And it's not really advertised as a seltzer. It's just...
No, it's just spiked.
Agua fresca.
Spiked juice, really. I guess we start with the review already. Or not the review, the recap.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is a recap done on Reddit. It was a post from 3 years ago from a user called YRod49 in the book club Reddit. So we're just going to be using the recaps that are already made on there. So again, this week we did 16 through 23. So let's start with chapter 16. Dr. Grace finds that Arid is being affected by astrophage at a slower rate because it is much hotter than Earth. He also tells Rocky that he would need 2 million kilograms of astrophage to return back to Earth, and Rocky tells him that he can provide it for him because he has plenty of it on his ship. Dr. Grace has another flashback where he recalls meeting the people that were chosen to go on the suicide mission aboard the Hail Mary. He remembers Strat being against the idea of having a woman on the ship and said she only wanted heterosexual men aboard in order to avoid sexual tension. In this flashback, he also remembers meeting Yao, Ilyukina, and Dubois, the astronauts that were going on the mission. He was told by Strat that he was going to teach them everything about astrophage. In addition, Dubois mentions to Dr. Grace that he has the coma-resistant gene. Dr. Grace and Rocky then embark on a mission to travel to Tau Ceti E, which is the third planet from the star Tau Ceti. They will both get there in 11 days. Dr. Grace also finds that Rocky used to have a mate and that Iridians mate by laying eggs next to each other, and then those eggs engulf each other and form one viable egg that hatches in 42 days. The chapter ends with Dr. Grace witnessing how Rocky eats, and he does so by engulfing food through an opening that he creates in his abdomen. He also defecates through this same hole. Chapter 17. The chapter begins with Rocky and Dr. Grace planning on how they are going to get samples of astrophage and analyzing the composition of planet Adrian. Dr. Grace then has a flashback where he recalls that he was testing out the EVA suits when they were preparing for the mission. He also recalls teaching Dr. Shapiro and Dr. Dubois about the cellular biology of astrophage. Dr. Grace then goes out into space in order to collect astrophage once they are close to planet Adrian. When he gets the sample and analyzes it, he finds that he collected more than just astrophage. He collected several other organisms, which indicates that there is life on planet Adrian. He also found that astrophage has a predator that consumes it and that it's found on planet Adrian. This means that if they find a way to breed this predator, it can control the population of astrophage. Chapter 18. The chapter begins with Dr. Grace having a flashback to when they are sending modules up to the International Space Station so they can continue assembling the Hail Mary. From what he remembered, the modules containing the cockpit, lab, and dormitory were launched successfully. Then, Dr. Grace and Rocky are trying to isolate the predator that eats the astrophage, but are having trouble doing so. They then come up with the conclusion that they would need to go to a place where astrophage are able to breed abundantly. They decide to get closer to planet Adrian. They are unable to get as close as they want because the atmosphere would kill them, so they come up with a long rope of xenonite so they can fish some astrophage from the horizon of planet Adrian. Dr. Grace also finds out that Rocky has so much astrophage left over because they miscalculated how long it was going to take for them to reach Tau Ceti, since they don't know about the theory of relativity. The chapter ends with Dr. Grace having a flashback to when Steve Hatch shows him a prototype of the beetle that would carry all the information that Project Hail Mary collects back to Earth. Chapter 19. The chapter begins with Dr. Grace and Rocky successfully being able to put together the chain made of xenonite. They are then able to collect the sample of astrophage that they were looking for. As they are reeling in the sample, the ship starts thrusting while Dr. Grace is still making his way back onto it. He is able to get inside the ship before anything catastrophic happened. However, when he gets back on the ship, he realizes that there has been a breach in one of the fuel tanks. In an attempt to preserve the rest of the ship, he lets go of one of the fuel tanks, but as he does this, the ship accelerates to the point where the gravity becomes overwhelming for Dr. Grace. He begins to feel the pressure of all the gravity and expects to die because of it. However, Rocky manages to save him by putting his own life at risk. Rocky tells Dr. Grace to save Earth and Arid, and the chapter ends with him laying motionless in front of Dr. Grace. Chapter 20. The chapter begins with Dr. Grace trying to save Rocky. Since Rocky got out of his suit in order to save him, Dr. Grace is trying to get Rocky back into his own environment to try to save him as well. He manages to get Rocky back to the conditions he is used to living in, but he gets hurt really bad. He asks the computer for help, and the computer is able to heal him. Dr. Grace then decides to let Rocky heal on his own, so he continues to monitor him while he tries to analyze the sample that they collected. The chapter ends with Dr. Grace using a high-pressure pump to blow off all the soot that was accumulating under or around Rocky's body in an attempt to save him. Chapter 21. The chapter starts with Dr. Grace having a flashback to the time when he had to ask the crew that was initially going to be on board the Hail Mary how they wanted to die in space. After having this flashback, Dr. Grace is on board the Hail Mary when he hears Rocky tapping on the airlock. Rocky lets Dr. Grace know that the soot that he blew off of him was his body's way of protecting his body while he healed. Dr. Grace then has another flashback where he remembers that there was an explosion at a facility 9 days before the launch, and Dubois and Shapiro were killed by it. Dr. Grace and Rocky then try to isolate the predator from the sample of astrophage that they collected. They manage to see the predator quickly attack the astrophage under a microscope, and they both name it Taumiba. They then work on creating a breeding tank for Taumiba by mimicking different atmospheres from different planets that are being greatly affected by astrophage. Chapter 22. Dr. Grace and Rocky find that one of the fuel compartments has been contaminated with Taumiba, and as a result, they ate the astrophage that they were using as fuel. Rocky is able to clean out the fuel supplies, but in order to replace the astrophage that was lost, they have to get back to Blip A to get fuel from there. Chapter 23. Dr. Grace has a flashback from when they told him that they had accidentally given Dubois and Shapiro too much astrophage when they were running experiments, so that's why the explosion happened. On board the ship, Rocky is working on modifying the beetles to get them back to his ship, Blip A. In addition, they find that the Taumiba that they were trying to breed died in both environments that they were testing them in. The chapter ends with Dr. Grace having a flashback to when Eva was trying to convince him to go on board the Hail Mary. He was hesitant, but she said he would eventually do it because he's a good person.
That was Strat.
Huh?
That was Strat.
I thought it was Strat, but I wonder why it said Eva or EVA. EVA. Maybe they got confused. But it was Strat. It was at the beginning when she was trying to recruit him. But yeah.
Dang. Oh my gosh. The set of chapters was such a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Uh,
I didn't think Rocky would die, but I definitely thought maybe some fatal injury or something.
I know. I was like, no, you can't take Rocky away from me. No, not like this.
Yeah.
You can't just take him away. But he's such a... it's so interesting how he is from another species, yet cares just as much as Dr. Grace.
Yeah. I forgot what chapter it was in, but it was when Dr. Grace was going to go outside of the ship, I think, to check on stuff before it started causing like turbulence or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Rocky was telling Dr. Grace, he's like, just hurry up and be careful. Your friend now. And he was like, yeah, your friend too. He's like, thank.
Thank. Not thanks, just thank.
Yeah.
I love it. I love their interactions so much.
Yeah.
Especially when they added sarcasm to their vocabulary as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, all right, do this, stupid human. You're like,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is what we call sarcasm. When you mean this, but it's the opposite.
And
What
then
is that for
Rocky
you?
used it, right? I think it was like when he said you're stupid when you don't get enough sleep. And he's like, you're trying to go do something dangerous while being stupid. Smart human or smart plan or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, sarcasm.
I love it.
Yeah.
Their interactions are the cutest. I also liked it when there's another interaction. It was with another thing went wrong in the ship. I think it's because the Tomiba ate up all the astrophage that was in their fuel.
Yeah.
And Dr. Grace was like, great, we're gonna die. And Rocky's like, well, no. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, first this, like, the gravity thing has to stop and whatever, then we die.
Yeah, he's like what is it? Something has to decay, the gravitational pull or something like that. It's like something around us has to decay first, and then we'll die.
Okay, here, I got it. No, orbit decays soon, then we die.
Orbit. Yeah.
He's such a cute little.
Yeah. At the end, we did get that little insight.
Yeah.
Dr. Grace basically got forced to go into this. He got signed up on a suicide mission, not by his choice.
Against his will.
Yeah.
Which I kind of get. I see both sides. It sucks because the recap doesn't really detail it that well, but Dr. Grace was hell-bent. He's like, I'll think about it. And when he told Strat, like, hey, I don't want to do this, Strat's like, well, you're going to have to.
Yeah.
And he's yelling, essentially, and being held back. Because he's like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to live. I want to be here for my kids that I teach. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to die.
He's like, if we die, we die, like, by the natural cause. Not natural cause, by what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, if we die, we die, but at least we'll die, like, I'll be able to be with the kids, and I'll be able to, like, teach them about it and stuff like that. But then she was like, nah, you're doing this. It was just better if you agreed.
Yeah.
But it was always going to be you going.
Yeah, she even called him a coward.
Yeah.
It's like, you were always such a coward. He's like, how are you saying that you're wanting to save your children, but you're the one who's well trained and so well versed in this subject? He's like, how are we going to teach this to someone within just less than 5 days when we have you who knows it all and has the coma resistant
But then she did
DNA.
give a good point. She was like, how do you want to like care for these kids when if you stay here they're gonna die, and if you go up there you have the chance of saving them, yeah, at your cost, but you'll give these kids a life to continue with, which was true.
Such
just
a
could have
valid
been
point.
put in a better way. But
Yeah. Man, I was so mad that it ended here because I really wanted to read more with their interaction just to gain a little bit more insight as to what is he now thinking. Because now he understands that he is not some savior who wanted to do this. He's not an astronaut or anything. He's just
he's just a teacher.
Yeah, he just got pushed into this, forced into this.
Yeah.
So now what? But I did want to mention Dubois. Very strange man.
Why?
So me and Dr. Shapiro, we're having sex.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are doing this. Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
He's very odd in how he frames it. And Dr. Shapiro, like, he's very straightforward about what he's doing. His almost like his thought process behind it. He's like, yeah, we are engaging in sexual activities. I am very much enjoying this. We already have talked about if one of us goes, you know, we're just gonna die or whatever. So that's why we are enjoying.
Yeah. Who was the one that had said, yeah, I'm simple, like just take a gun? But
That was Yao, the commander.
Yeah.
Or the captain, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Dubois, aside from that, because going back to that first, Dr. Shapiro had gone up to him and he's like, hey, we have like this little mini break in between things that we're going to do. Do you want to have sex? And Dubois was like, yes, Dr. Shapiro, I would enjoy that very much.
Yeah.
And Dr. Grace was like, you can drop the doctor. And he's like, no. He's so formal about it too. It's so strange.
Yeah. I mean, technically they're at work. So.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're at work, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like, and then he was also the one who wanted to have like kind of an elaborate way of dying.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, this is within my personal weight allowance or something. I don't know.
It was like that gas one, no? He's like, if you, like, he calculated how much of the nitrogen he needed or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Something like that. He's like, just put me in this room or in this suit, I don't know, and just turn that on. He's like, I calculated how much I need and all that kind of stuff to make it like painless and effortless.
And then Ilyukina,
Something like that, yeah.
she wanted heroin.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to experience it. Might as well if I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Dude.
And he's like, I don't know how we're going to get it, but I'm sure Strat will, or make a phone call or two or whatever.
Hey, they're going to go on a suicide mission. Might as well just give them what they want.
Yeah.
And then Yao, like you said, such a simple man. Just like, give me a gun. That's all I need.
Yeah. And even Grace was like, yeah, it's simple and effective, practically painless.
Yeah. That is so morbid to think about. And for him to have to also just kind of go through that.
Did he say what his thought was? He didn't remember that yet, right? Like his choice of death?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was just writing them all down.
Yeah, he was just writing it for everyone else. Because in that point, like, he was not going.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't know he was going to get forced to go.
That's right.
So, in his head, he was just going to stay here on Earth. Now he just has to figure that out. I mean, technically, that gun and that heroin should be in that ship. So,
that's true.
If he does want to go. Although, that being said, Was this said in the recap where Rocky's like, oh yeah, that he has enough astrophage to take him back to Earth, or for him to get
No, it
to
wasn't
Earth?
said in the recap. No.
Well, that's something Rocky had mentioned, and he's because Rhyland, that's his name,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Rhyland had finally told Rocky, he's like, look, I'm dying on the ship, so I'm gonna get this figured out, but I'm dying on the ship. I can't go back. We don't have enough fuel. Rocky's like, well, how much do you need? Ryan's like, well, I'm gonna need a ton. He's like, well, I got it on my ship.
Yeah.
Like, we got a ton. He's like, my ship may not be that great, but I got it for you.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. He's like, we'll take you back. We save Earth. We save Arid. We're good. So now Rhyland does have that hope that he's gonna make it back home.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of will it? Now he doesn't have to think about his impending death, but it's now with everything that has gone wrong with his ship.
Yeah.
Will it be enough to actually take him back?
Yeah. Unless they get to work on the ship too.
Which it sounds like that is what Rocky wants to do.
Yeah.
He's
He's
like-
like, just take me down there. I fix.
Yeah, I fix.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'll look into it first. He's like, okay. But when you're finished, I fix.
He's like, yeah, I can do this. No worries. That's literally what he does. He's an engineer.
Yeah.
He's got this. I'm like, just let me do it. And he's like, I'm bored. I fix. What was it? He told him he was going to fix something, but first he was telling Rhyland to get some sleep.
Yeah.
He's like,
You've been awake for like 18 hours or something like that. And you told me that humans operate for like 10 hours or something like that with a 16 hours with like an 8-hour sleep or something, and you haven't slept in 18. Go sleep.
otherwise he's stupid.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you sleep, I watch.
Yeah.
It's so cute. He just won't stop with that. That is the most adorable thing. I love it. I wanted to mention one more thing and I forgot what it was. Well, now they have the thing that they need to kill astrophage.
Yeah.
Now it's a matter of how do you get that back to Earth and to Arid and fix the issue.
Well, not only that, they still don't know if it can even survive when they take it back. Because they were working on the environments and it died in the 2 environments that they put it in. So they still need to find out if it'll even work.
But I think Rocky, that's what he was also trying to work on, creating the environment for that, no?
Yeah, but they still have a bunch of other environments to work on.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And there's only how many chapters left?
Where I think it ends in 27.
27? It's only 3 chapters? 4 chapters?
Oh, 30. My bad. It has 30. And we finished on 23, so we have 6 chapters left.
Oh, boy. I feel like so much is going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have to theorize. What's going to happen?
One of them's not making him back.
You think so?
Yeah. And it's probably going to be Dr. Grace. I think he'd prioritize taking Rocky back. Because from his memories so far, it's always like he didn't want to do this, but he got put in this. He can make it back to Earth, but then what? Because if I remember correctly, there was like that huge time jump, no? Because it's like light years away.
It's about X amount of years. Yeah, you're right. I will. Yeah.
Because like he can't even go back to the kids he was teaching because now they're probably teenagers. No, he could.
Hell, they're probably in college, maybe.
Yeah. But so that's why I think like he can go,
Mm-hmm.
but he probably wouldn't want to.
I was also thinking, aside from him wanting to prioritize like getting Rocky back to Arid, I would also feel that he now has learned that he has been a coward
Yeah.
with not wanting to go and just like, putting other things aside, prioritizing that and not choosing, even though he is the most qualified person to do this. He's like, no, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
So maybe this, him helping Rocky, if it comes down to that situation, would kind of help redeem that quality per se.
Yeah.
So he doesn't die a coward, but rather as a hero per se.
That's true. Yeah.
So it could be that too. Oh, I swear, if Rocky dies,
I don't think so. I mean, he's the last one on his ship. And who knows if there's anything back on his planet.
yeah, he even said that he doesn't even know if he has his mate to come back to.
Yeah.
That is so sad.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I have a mate, but she may not even be there when I come back. It's
Yeah.
so sad. Also, the way he eats. Yuck.
Yeah, being the same way he defecates.
Poops. Yeah. Like he's just on his back and just,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, you want to watch? He's like, no, like, don't watch me eat. This is not a fun thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel we've grown attached to Rocky.
Yeah.
He's just very adorable. I wonder how this is gonna pan out within these last few chapters.
Yeah. Like, I can't even theorize because I don't even know.
Do you
Like, I
think-
have that thought, but I'm not even 100% on it.
You think if they both get back to their respective planets, or even if they don't, do you think we're gonna get some sort of closure as to like, hey, hopefully the data gets sent back to Earth as to what they need to do?
I think so. In some sense, there's going to be some kind of closure, whether that's the data didn't get sent back and we kind of have to like insinuate that Earth is pretty much gone, or he does make it back and it gets all saved or whatever. I think there is. I don't think it's going to be like an open ending or another book to it or anything like that. Because if it's anything like The Martian, it kind of got like closed off, kind of like that, and it didn't need a second part really. So if that trend continues, I feel like that is Andy's style.
Yeah.
And it's going to be closed off. Like, his books don't need a sequel. So I think we are going to get that closure.
I hope so, man. I don't see how this could become an open ending. At least I hope not. Otherwise, I'm going to be left very unsatisfied from
Very
this.
what?
Unsatisfied.
Yeah.
Ugh. Gosh.
Yeah. So now we have 6 chapters left. And I don't think there's a... What's that thing at the ending called? Epilogue?
Epilogue. Yeah.
I don't think there is anything. So it's going to end right on chapter 30. And I think we even said it at the beginning, right? You looked at the book and they're like, the book is big, but it's pretty much all book. There's like no extra stuff.
Oh, yeah. No.
At the end or anything like that. So the end is the end.
No.
We have 6 chapters till that. So
I'm ready to finally get to the end and figure out what's gonna happen, because this book has been pretty good so far.
yeah.
But I'm also not ready, and I'm nervous
Yeah.
so how this is gonna go down.
Yeah.
I just know. I really hope I don't get my heart broken, but I feel like I'm gonna get my heart broken in some way or another.
Yeah. I think they won't do anything with Rocky anymore because they already teased it. There's no way. But then again, other people have done stuff like that. But at this point, I don't think I would enjoy another Rocky death thing.
No.
Kind of like in, what was it, Guardians of the Galaxy 3? They like teased everyone dying, and at the end, nobody died.
Yeah.
And so I think this might be similar, but I mean, they already teased both of them kind of almost being in a situation of death.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one more is probably going to be like overdoing it. So I don't know if anybody is going to die, but there is that open door.
I hope it's just a close call, but this has already been a close call for both of them.
I wouldn't enjoy it if it's a close call. Like if you're going to kill somebody at this point, you have to like kill them.
Oh my God. That's
another close call is not going to be enjoyable. It's like, oh, look, it's the same thing you did 5 chapters ago. So we'll see. I already have my thoughts on the book so far, but maybe the ending changes some of it.
Yeah, you think so?
But we'll see. We'll leave that for that brew review in the next one, where we cover chapters 24
through 30.
to 30. So the ending, and then also the Brews review.
Yes, and it is halfway through or a little bit more than halfway through the book, but this is where we start to announce next month's book.
Oh yeah.
So for September's book, we're going to be reading The Puzzle Master by Danielle Trussoni. And I picked this up at Writer's Block one of the times that we went, and I was really intrigued by the cover, so I'm kind of excited to finally get to it.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I don't think there's any romance in this that I remember. So I guess we'll find out next month.
Yeah, we got one more week of this, and then we start that new one after the review for this. And then hopefully we got some news on the movie that's being made. Movie or series? Movie, right?
Movies. Yeah, movie.
So hopefully there's more developments on that, depending on how it ends, is how I'll say that again. It's like hopefully we got news, and hopefully we got news that the story's changing or something. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm really excited so far for this book.
Yeah.
Before we end this off, I am the most awful person at plugging our social media. So, I'm going to do it right now. Otherwise, I'm going to forget, as always. But follow us on social media. Instagram, our handle is the Book Nook Brews, and everywhere else should just be Book Nook Brews. On our Instagram, I do have a link to everything else. But yeah, Instagram right now is the only place that I'm posting a little bit more regularly. TikTok has been very slow. I think I've only posted one thing that was towards the very beginning. So we'll get there slowly but surely.
And then if you ever happen to come across the Instagram page and the book of the month is not the current book of the month, mind your business. Because our social media manager over here forgets to change that. And then we realize the book from April is still on there. So
oops.
Yeah. Hopefully you're finding the social media after you listen to the podcast.
Yes.
You know what book we're actually on.
Yes. Oh my gosh. For someone who graduated with a degree in advertising and public relations, this is not very great of me per se. So yeah. But we shall get better. I shall remember, because I forgot about that little detail for the longest of times. But follow us on social media. I am trying to see if we could potentially put the book that we're reading on Fable. It's an app where you can kind of have the book club on there and be able to comment on the chapters that you're reading with everyone else for that book. So I'm going to see if I can get that started up for September, but to be decided, or yeah, to be done. To be done.
All right. So I guess till next week where we finish off Project Hail Mary.
Alrighty. Bye.
See you.